you could draw them out and show that they all connect on the same line, couldn't you? It's one way of doing it. So we won't do it that way, but you could have it as like what's it like? -2, -1 would be down here. You could have 2, 1, which would be 2 across, 1 up, and the other one's 4 across, 2 up, and you would see that all 3 points actually connect on the same line. Is that all right? Now, would anybody have a suggestion on how what be another way of doing it? And we have a good suggestion how to do it. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so here would be my suggestion for you, all right? I'm going to get the slope from x to y. Everybody see the slope from x to y? Okay, so we're going to use the slope formula. What's the slope formula, lads? Is rise over run, or you can do it like this. Is that all right? Now, you pick the 2 points you're using. So I'm going to use the slope of x, y. That means I'm going to use point x and point y. And I'm going to call x x1, y1. And I'm going to call y x2, y2. You can do that the other way around if you want. You can call x x2, y2, x1, y1. Right? So lads, y2 is 1. Y1 is... Put in the minuses at the start. See these minuses? They belong to the formula. Everybody got that? So anything else that happens could be an extra minus. So if I go to y1, I see it's -1. So that means it's 2 minuses, which makes a plus. And then x2 is 2 minus minus 2. Okay. So I'm going to get an answer of 2 over 4, which is a slope of a half. Okay with that? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the slope of xz. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same thing, except I'm going to get the slope of xz. What are we expecting to happen? It has to be the same slope. That means if it goes through y, it also goes through z. Because if they're on the same slope, they have to go through the same points. Right? So z is just sort of, I'll do it here. Let z be x1, y1. Let that one be x2, y2. Now I'm working with the red right in here. So we're going to get 1 minus minus 2 all over 2 minus 4. Actually, I think I'm wrong there. It's a plus 2, is it? Thanks. And that's -1 over -2, which is a half. So are we happy that they're collinear? So to prove they're collinear, either draw out the graph and show that the 3 points are on the line, or prove that the slope from the first point to the middle point is the same as the first point to the last point. All right? Resume this, okay? And here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab this all the way down, and we're going to drag it down. Okay? Just going to get rid of the extra writing. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. And get rid of you. All right. It wants the ratio, doesn't it? It wants the ratio. Now, first of all, so what's the ratio of xy to yz? Would everybody agree with that? Okay, which one is it closer to? Prediction time. Which one is it closer to? Is y closer to z or closer to x? Huh? It's closer to z. So would you agree that I'm expecting this to be the smaller number and this one to be the larger number? Does that make sense? Right. Now here's all we have to do. How many blocks do we have to go across to go from -2 to +2? 4. And how much up do we have to go? 2. And now to go from y to z, 2 across and? Do you see that the blue distance is twice the amount of the green distance? Does that make sense? I would call this ratio, 2:1. Is that okay? Because it's twice as large. All right, gents. The premise further, right? So you have 2 lines, right? And long story short is that D is in the middle of A and E. Not in the middle, but it's somewhere in between the two of them. Does that make sense? Which one is it closer to, A or D? Oh, sorry, A or E, I mean. It's close to E, isn't it? How'd you know that? Yeah, it's 4 times further away from A as it is from D. So we from E. So we expect it to be somewhere up in this region here, yeah? Okay. So let's draw where D is. 2 across and 1 up is around here. And that's your D. Okay. Now, the problem with A and E is that A is on the y-axis. Everybody happy with that? That's A on the y-axis. We have no idea where to put it. It could be anywhere on this y-axis. We haven't got a clue. So what points? What will I call the coordinates of A? It does 0, y. Okay, and then we go for E. Okay, and what do you reckon E? Yeah, E could be anywhere. So for argument's sake, I'll just call it x0. And I sort of have a rough idea what I might do here. So x0. Okay, so here's what we're going to look at. Which one is it closer to again? E. All right, I'll bring E slightly closer. I don't know if it goes here. I'm just doing it for my own brain. E is closer to D. A is further away. All right, happy days. I think this could be. Now, add the two numbers together. What you get? 5, is it? Okay. So, would you agree that 4/5 of the distance is A to D, and 1/5 of the distance is D to E? Does that make sense? All right. Now, here's a good one. How'd you go from 1 to 0? -1, isn't it? So -1 to, what's it? -1 to y. Is that great? Is 1/5 of the entire distance. Does that make sense? Yeah. So this one here will be, so it'll be 4 times longer, won't it? So you have to add on 4, don't you? So I think this point here will be 0.5. Can anybody tell me why you think it's 0.5? You have to go -4 to get down to 1, and then -1 to go down to 0. Because it has to be 4 times. It has to be 4 times longer, doesn't it? That's what the ratio of 4 to 1 means. -4 is 4 times longer than -1. So we have that point straight away. I think there was one exactly like it at the weekend in the other book. Okay. Now, what about the x value? What do we do here? I'm going to do this one here. 0 all the way to 2. 0 all the way to 2 is what? +2 to x. All right. And once agreed, that's the longer line, isn't it? That's 4 times that distance. Yeah. So what we might do is we divide this by 4 because the next distance is going to be 1/4 of that. So what's 2 divided by 4? A half. And add a half onto 2. Yeah. Anybody got 2.5? Tricky, isn't it? These are the sort of harder questions towards the end of this exercise. So as I said, if you're stuck, do the homework from the weekend and we run through all this and easy questions and harder questions, okay? All right, let's go for one more. So what are we on? 5, 6, and 7, isn't it? All right. This one's difficult. Okay. Before we begin, does anybody know how to find the place where two lines hit each other? Would have been on the geometry revision. Anybody know? It's okay if you don't. Simultaneous equations. So as an example, line L is this one here. I'd say L is 3x minus 2y plus 10 equals 0. I will say that line K, which is this line here, for argument's sake, 2x minus 3y plus 8 equals 0. We solve simultaneous equations. What happens when we solve simultaneous equations? We usually get an x value and we usually get a, and that is where the two lines hit each other. Is that okay? Now, you're probably wondering why I'm asking you this, right? So, we might draw a rough diagram of what we're doing here, okay? We'll draw a rough diagram, okay? What's the only thing we can be dead certain of? Where A and B are located. Would that make sense to you guys? The only thing you can be dead certain about is where A and B are located. Okay, so let's have a look at this. A and B are located. So A is 8 across and 6 down, yeah. B 5 across and 2 down. Okay, that's B. Now, okay, now it says we have this other line. See this line here? I currently have no idea where to draw that. Would everybody be in agreement with me? We currently have no idea where to draw that. Is that cool? Right. Can anybody tell me where can I find 2 points on this line? Just for my sake to figure out how to draw it. Anybody know? Anybody know how to find where it hits the X and the Y axis? What you do? You put one of them equal to 0. So if you're looking for the Y axis, you put the X value equal to 0. If you're looking for the X axis, you put the Y value equal to 0. Now this is just going to give me a rough guideline of how to draw the line and what exactly is going on. So I have no idea what's going on currently. All right. So here's what I'm thinking. This is the line AB. You cool with the line AB? Okay. This line here, for argument's sake, we're just going to do, you don't actually have to do this, by the way. The part I'm doing now, you don't have to do it. But I'm just trying to explain how to do this question, okay? So look at this. I put the X value equal to 0. Everybody cool with that? What happens then? Minus 8y equals, I say minus 8y minus 71 equals 0. And then after that, minus 8y equals, and then y equals 71 over, y equals 71 over minus 8. And what's that in the old calculator? So yeah, minus 71 over a, is whatever, minus 8.85. So where is this located then? Where's this point located then? That the y value is minus 8.9 for argument's sake. Where's it located? Yeah, it's down here somewhere, isn't it? So this point, oh, God, I need to group that. This point here is all the way down here, and it's a good bit down as well, isn't it? It's a lot lower than minus 6, so it's going to be all the way down here somewhere. Agreed? Okay. Now, if we read the question again, in what ratio does this line divide AB? What are we expecting to happen? I think we're expecting this line to chop through AB in some sort of ratio. Does that make sense? It's going to chop through it in some type of ratio. And that's what we have to figure out. Everybody cool with that? Now, this is just me drawing the diagram to get the picture in my head. Once again, you do not have to draw the diagram. Okay? So, what am I going to do next? I'm going to find out what the x-axis coordinate is, right? So this was a bit of extra revision as well. Put the y value equal to 0. 6x equals 71. And then, we already know to move this to the right. It's going to be 11 point something, I think. What is it? 11.83. Happy enough with that? All right. Now, as I said, when I draw this line, this is just a rough diagram, nothing precise. See the way it cuts AB in a certain ratio? Okay. Now, your job is to find out where does it hit AB. Does that make sense? So your job is to find out where does it hit AB. Now, this brings you back to the start of the lesson, okay? So I can get rid of all this now. And what I know definitely happens is that I know that AB, which is this line here, I know it gets chopped in. I know another line comes along. I know that this other line goes through it. Is that right? How did I say at the start of class? How did you find out where two lines hit each other? Great. Simultaneous equations. How many equations do you see there that could be a simultaneous equation? I just see one. I see this one. Okay, I see one of them. Well, it takes two to party, doesn't it? So, what do we need to do then? Nope. We need to figure out what is the equation of AB. We need to figure out the equation of the line AB. Is that okay? What's the equation of a line? Yeah. What Cuno said there was Cuno gave me two options, okay? The other one is this one I just boxed off. That's when you have a graph or you're already given the equation up the line. The one, option two, the one in the red box, that's when you have to make the equation up the line yourself and you don't have any diagram to go by. Is that right? So here's what we're going to do. To work this, how many pieces of information do I need to work an equation of the line? Anybody tell me? 1, 2, 3 pieces of information. Any point on the line. You got it? Do I know how many choices do I have for a point on the line? I can either use A or I can use B because they're both on the line. So it's my choice. I'll choose A and I'll just call A x1 and y1 and I'll throw it in. What's minus 6? Plus 6. And what's x1? Okay, just pause there. What's the only thing I'm missing? Missing the slope, haven't I? The m value is the slope. So how do you find the slope? Use the slope formula. Okay. Okay, and then what happens here? Anybody tell me? y2, y1, minus 6, which is, and then x2, and then minus a, and a slope of 4 over minus 3, which is 4 over minus 3. This is a very difficult question, all right? In the next exercise, they actually do more about the equations of the line. So if you're a bit lost at the moment, don't feel too bad. This question is almost a bit too hard, a bit too early. Okay. Now, what do I do for the m value here? With minus 4 over 3. Okay. Now, we all know I'm going to do, what's it called? We all know I'm going to do we're going to do a simultaneous equation sooner or later. So let's treat this first. See the way the 3 is division on the right. What does it make it on the left? So if 3 is division on the right, it becomes multiplication on the left. And that'll be 3y plus 18. Multiplying that minus 4, and what do we get? 32. Move it all to one side. Well, move the 4x to one side. 4x plus 3y. And 32 take 18. 14. Okay with that? Okay. Now, I'm going to get this one down here. What do I have now? I have two equations, don't I? And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for where do the two lines hit each other? There's AB, and the other line's coming up, and where do they intersect each other? Okay. And A is 8 minus 6, and B is 5 minus 2. Okay, so you're A, you're B. All right, let's keep going. Pick a letter to get rid of. We get rid of X. Okay, good choice. All right, I'm going to multiply the top equation by, see 4 and 6. I'm going to turn them into 12s. So you're going to turn the top equation into plus 12. You're going to multiply by 3. You're going to multiply the bottom equation by minus 2. And I do this, I should get a plus 12x and a minus 12x, and that should work out nicely. Okay, so 12x plus 9y equals 42 minus 12x plus 16y. What's 2 times that? I'm happy now. Why am I happy all of a sudden? It's going to go unevenly. It's usually a good sign. And y equals minus 4. Is every y equal to minus 4? Bring it back to either equation. I'm going to bring it back to the top equation. Is that all right? What do we get here? 4 times minus 4, yeah? 3 times y equals 14. What's 14? Oh, thank you. You're on it today. 3 times minus 4? Okay. What's that? 4x minus? We're over to minus 12. 26. There's 26 divided by 4. 6.5. All right. Now, I was looking at my diagram and going, my diagram doesn't really make sense, and I'll explain why. All right, we'll do it out now. So can somebody call me out the point A and point B again, please? A is what? 8 and minus 6, yeah. B? 5 and minus 2. So lads, one more time, look at this. This means 8 across and 6 down. 8 across, 6 down will be located somewhere over here. Okay, what about B? 5 across and 2 down. B will be located somewhere a bit more, not as far down, so B will be around there. What do you think of 6.5 and minus 4? Huh? Somewhere in between, would you agree with that? Now, look at this, okay? How'd you go from, we'll get the ratio really quickly. How'd you go from minus 2 to minus 4? Minus 2 to Y. How'd you go from 5 to 6.5? 1.5 to X. Next question. How'd you go from minus 4 to minus 6? Minus 2 to Y. How'd you go from 6.5 to 8? Do you notice the ratio is the same? It's a perfect 1 to 1. It's exactly the midpoint. So that line hits it in the midpoint. So it's a 1 to 1 ratio this time. Right, that was a tough question. In fact, took me way longer.